Vanished kids. How did it happen? I had dared to ask questions when I noticed the bank statements showing my college savings were entirely drained. The temperature outside was dropping fast, but they didn't care. Dad just sneered, grabbing me by the collar and dragging me toward the backyard shed. "Let's see how smart you feel when you freeze," he snapped, throwing me inside and snapping the heavy padlock shut. This wasn't a new tactic. They had locked me out there before for minor infractions, like failing to polish the silverware or taking too long to walk the dog. Usually, it was just long enough for my lips to turn blue and my teeth to chatter uncontrollably, standing shivering among the rusted lawnmowers until they decided I had suffered enough. But this time was entirely different. Mom's voice through the thin wooden door promised that a full weekend out there would cure my disrespect. I knew I wouldn't survive the night. The forecast predicted the worst blizzard of the decade. The wind chill was plunging, and I was wearing nothing but a thin cotton sweater and jeans. I didn't wait around for the hypothermia to take hold and shut my organs down. I grabbed a rusted crowbar buried under some old tarps and pried the rotting wood around the back window frame until the glass and timber shattered. I squeezed through the jagged opening, tearing my sleeves and cutting my arms in the process, and bolted into the heavy snow. I headed for the only place I knew would be open and warm, a massive 24-hour mega gym across town. I knew the back roads well enough to avoid the street lights and the neighborhood watch cars, keeping to the tree lines and industrial parks. I slipped through a faulty emergency exit door I'd noticed months prior during a high school physical education field trip. For nearly 3 weeks, I lived inside the sprawling walls of that fitness center like a ghost. I slept on wrestling mats shoved deep into the dark equipment storage rooms, using rolled-up towels to insulate my body heat. I took scalding showers at 3 in the morning when the locker rooms were completely abandoned, keeping my dirty clothes hidden in an unclaimed locker. For food, I carefully picked the flimsy locks on the excess inventory cabinets, surviving solely on chalky protein bars and electrolyte sports drinks meant for marathon runners. Then, the local news broadcast aired my face on the monitors hanging above the treadmills. My parents were on the screen, putting on a highly convincing, tearful performance. They claimed I was suffering from severe paranoia and had fled into the night during a psychological break. Mom sobbed into the microphone, pleading for her confused, troubled daughter to come back safely. They painted a picture of a mentally unstable teenager who lashed out and ran away unprovoked. A few days later, my luck ran out. The overnight facilities manager was doing a surprise inventory check of the storage closets and caught me trying to open a new box of protein shakes. I was cornered. I tried to bolt for the fire exit, but he blocked the path. He looked at me, then at his phone, realizing exactly who I was. "You're the girl from the news," he said, reaching for his radio. "I have to call your family." I dropped to my knees, shaking uncontrollably, and pleaded with him to understand that returning meant a death sentence. He paused, lowering the radio, and asked why they would ever do such a thing. I poured out the entire truth, detailing years of agonizing punishments, the stolen money, and the freezing shed. He sat down on a stack of yoga mats, listening intently. He didn't just nod along, he asked for concrete proof before he made a move. I told him about the high-tech security cameras my dad had installed around our property. I still had the master password memorized from when I helped set up their network. We logged into the cloud server from his tablet right there in the dark closet. The footage from that night was crystal clear and damning. My parents violently dragging me through the snow, tossing me into a freezing, unheated outbuilding, and walking away laughing while I pounded on the door. He immediately bypassed Child Protective Services and dialed the local police directly. He handed the dispatcher the exact timestamps of the video evidence. The authorities raided my house before dawn. The media narrative flipped overnight from a tragic runaway story to charges of severe child endangerment and unlawful imprisonment. During the trial, the defense tried to argue it was just strict parenting, but the video of them leaving me to freeze shattered that illusion instantly. They were handed lengthy prison sentences. The judge stated that weaponizing the elements against your own child was an act of pure evil.